What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Beer's End. Today, we're going to be talking about beers and Chapeaus, which is just a fancy word for hat.
Just a fancy word for hat.
Welcome in. We're in person today.
It's good to see your face again like this.
It's great to see you in...
I can see all your pores.
In HD. I was just going to say, in HD. Welcome in, everyone, to Beer's End. We are back with an episode about hats. Very exciting beer today. You can come find us on YouTube at Beers and Podcast, or come follow us on Instagram at the same thing, and come check us out over at Twitter at Beers and One, and then send us. You know what? Send us some beer suggestions and send us some show suggestions. Some show suggestions.
Pork
chops and applesauce.
If you would be so kind. Wow, that was a throwback and a half. Yeah. Wow, nicely done.
Thank you. Yeah. So send them over. We're listening. We'll either do them or tell you how terrible they are.
Yeah, one or the other. And you guys have seen some of what we've picked. So, I mean, you know, you've got a wide
How much
berth.
worse could it get?
If anything, and not that I would ever want to go ahead and promote one of what I think might be one of our real reaches, but check out Beers and the Yucatan.
Ooh,
so,
hey.
Oh boy.
So we are very excited about what we are having today. We're having another 450 North beer. You guys voted on Instagram. It was actually very, very close.
Oh, was it?
It was a very close vote. Actually, I will say that it was a dead even split between this and Slushie Nation, which is like the SpongeBob with SpongeBob on the front.
Oh, I'm glad that we...
Dead even on the Instagram poll. I voted.
Good for you. I like that.
And that's why we're
you are the
that's why we're having the marshmallow.
The president pro tempore of the Senate over here.
Thank you.
He went and broke the tiebreaker.
Ta-da! So this is Fun with Jellyfish.
Jellyfishing.
This is another super fun one from 450 North.
Love it.
Quickly becoming some of our favorites, I would say.
Yeah, I think so. We've had and they've ranged too in terms of whether or not we've actually liked them. So this is always interesting.
So this one is a Slushmallow Slushie. So that just means it's got marshmallow in it.
Yeah, I like that.
And it's XXL. Is it XXL? No,
I don't think so.
It's
no.
not. I lied. And this contains strawberry, peanut butter, banana, raspberry, and marshmallow.
I'm excited for this.
This sounds like it's going to be thick.
It's going to be thick and sweet.
Yeah, super thick. Let's give it a nice little turn upside down.
That's how I like it.
Thick and sweet.
Thick and sweet. Slushmallow happens to be my stage name.
Oh, fancy.
Don't ask which stage.
Do you come out looking like Marshmallow, the
H&R Puffin stuff is what I aim for, or the Michelin Man from Ghostbusters.
Isn't that his name? Marshmallow?
It might
like
be.
a DJ or...
It might be.
And he wears a big marshmallow like head.
No, that's the Michelin type. That's the Michelin Man.
No. There's like a music.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Huh. I don't know.
Oh yeah. We're gonna check it out.
We're gonna have to look into it. I don't know.
We're gonna check that out later. So I'm gonna go a little retro for the question of the day today.
Does it have to do with pork chops and applesauce?
It does not. No. It has to do with sweet things.
Ooh. Okay. Interesting. I just wrapped up a class where someone for some reason had asked me, sweet or savory? And I responded,
savory.
Savory.
100% of the time.
Yeah.
But when we were little, we used to have, I did, Entenmann's.
Oh my God. I just had a conversation about Entenmann's yesterday too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's strange.
Okay. Continue. I'm sorry.
So much Entenmann's. So I just want to know, like, what's your Entenmann's go-to?
Ooh, I do love a good ultimate crumb cake.
Yeah.
You can't go, and the regular crumb cake is nice.
You're right.
But if it's not the ultimate one, I'm going to say ultimate crumb cake. And previously, it was the soft bakes.
Oh, yeah.
But
classic.
I think that more recently than not, either my palate has changed or they changed the recipe, because I do not think they are nearly as good as they used to be.
Do you know about the just noticeable difference?
What is that?
It's a psychological term.
Yeah.
Where like every year since Snickers' inception, the candy bar has gotten just slightly smaller, but just outside of the noticeable difference to everyone's eyes.
Really?
But if you took a candy bar from today and one from like 15, 20 years ago, totally different size.
Interesting. I did not know about that.
Yeah, so I wonder if it's like a ingredient thing, like that. Like let's see what we can take out and if we could still hold true to our flavor.
I think it is. I think it is. There's something that is lacking that used to be there. That's like a reverse chicken.
Kind of.
Yeah, how chickens used to be significantly smaller, but now we pump them up with a whole bunch of
Correct.
Antibiotics and a whole bunch of what's the word I'm looking
So this
for?
has all sorts of like cauldron bubbles on top
Oh
of
my God,
it.
it does.
It looks like a smoothie.
I don't know how to feel about this. Although the smell, wow,
Oh my
right off the
God.
bat. What? By the way,
Marshmallow, banana, peanut butter.
what is our Entenmann's go to?
I would say I really love the raspberry Danish with like the frosting on it.
I was just thinking about that too.
And I really like the banana chocolate cake. It was like a banana
Oh my
cake
God,
with banana
yes.
frosting and like the ripples of the chocolate on top.
I have an article open on my phone's browser from the New York Times, and they had gone through like why, like the mysticism of Entenmann's on Long Island and how it's like a Long Island staple for one reason or another. Have I read it? Not one word. But I opened it with the intention to.
Why Long Island?
I believe that's
that
where
where-
Entenmann's
is
is
that where it
from.
began?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
This beer smells crazy, dude.
Oh my God.
It's like peanut butter and marshmallow. It's honestly smells like a peanut butter jelly and fluff.
It does.
Sandwich.
It does. And I don't know how to feel about that yet, though. Because I'm not a fan of the fluff usually.
It smells crazy.
Cheers. Wow. Hiya. Hiya. Ooh,
There's a lot going on.
there's a lot going on there.
I'm very confused.
I gotta say, I was not expecting the raspberry to be nearly as prominent and tart.
Like way forward. Mm-hmm. Way forward.
Wow.
I don't know how to separate this in my head.
The raspberry, I think, is the most prominent, followed by a lingering
Peanut butter, banana,
peanut butter.
marshmallow.
Yeah, but the peanut butter, I think, is mostly on the back more than anything else, back middle of the tongue. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
It's very strange to have this so shortly after we had PM Dawn
Yes.
because the peanut butter flavor in both of this beer and that beer are way different.
Right. And of course, the PM Dawn being a porter.
Yeah, stout or porter, whatever it was.
I'm sorry. It was a stout,
It was
but
peanut
was
butter with coffee, right?
correct.
Okay.
You're right. It was a stout, but with like a more of a porter body because it wasn't
Yes.
as thick.
Man,
This is
look at what it's leaving on the glass first
know.
off. Like just like
that's the marshmallow too, correct?
yeah, and all the fruit.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, it's just a lot.
It is. It's like pulpy.
I am so confused.
I'm not sure if I like it or not. I think I do. I'm leaning more towards yes, but
It's not my favorite one from them. I feel like less peanut butter. But you know what though? Like
I don't know. It's
It-
actually growing on me with
it
this.
feels
second.
like the point of this beer is to be just what we said, a peanut butter fluff jelly sandwich.
yeah, and
And that's kind of what it tastes like.
it's actually growing on me quite a bit.
A little bit.
I'm liking it.
I'm
The
still
peanut
very
butter
confused.
The peanut butter is coming through much more, which is nice. I'm still not getting a lot of the banana, but I'm wondering if I'm
It's
blending
kind of muddled in there.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I'm blending the peanut butter and the banana maybe just a
the
little bit too
marshmallow,
much,
yeah.
which is entirely possible. What's the ABV on this?
It's low.
Oh, it is.
5.5 or 6 maybe.
Oh, all right.
You know what? It's not on here.
Oh, we'll just go with 5.5 or 6.
Here it is. I'm sorry. 5.3.
Oh, okay, good.
Hidden at the bottom by the barcode.
Well, I mean, realistically, you're not drinking.
Hide the ABV.
I'm gonna have a low ABV beer.
We're gonna hide the ABV on this by just putting it in an awkward spot.
I enjoy it. I like the can art. I find that
Does it bring you back?
I
Because
don't.
I loved SpongeBob when we were younger. I still love SpongeBob.
I don't think I watched it as religiously as
Okay.
a lot of other people did, although I still
As I.
do think that the first episode essentially is hilarious to this day.
They're so funny.
They are very, very well done.
And how much do we relate to Squidward now that we're adults?
I mean, I think I even did at that age. I was like, "You're a clarinet playing curmudgeon." Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, get away from me.
Yeah, when I played the clarinet, I played a clarinet, and I
Hey.
was very much a curmudgeon.
Okay.
And I know the way I sound.
Is it
as well?
is that just like a qualification to be a clarinet player? You just have to be curmudgeon-y?
Yeah, you do have to be.
Yeah, a little
Absolutely.
bit.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Because you could like play the oboe and be the happiest person in the world.
Of course, because of the fact is that not many people are like, one reed, not enough. I need two. And I'm not going to carry around a bassoon like a jackass.
Although it'd be cool to just say that I played the bassoon.
That is true. Although, hey, I'm going to give myself 120 points for being able to name not one, but two double-reeded woodwind
Very
instruments.
good. Woodwind instruments for $500, Alex. So really quickly before we review the beer, I have a little overthought.
Please.
So obviously I'm a big sports fan, and yesterday in the news, a player requested a trade, a football player. And
Can they do that?
well, that's the thing. So it's over the years now, it's become this thing where if someone did it first and now like people are following suit. Football players have a very short lifespan as far as football goes.
And lifespan, realistically.
Right. So
Yeah.
they have to maximize their financial earnings in the shortest period possible. So they're concerned with their money and their body because they want to stay healthy and they want to make their next paycheck. So over the years now, players have come to the point where they're like, I want to be traded. If you don't trade me, I'm not playing. And it's happened pretty close to once a year since it began, I want to say about between 7 and 12 years ago.
Okay.
So it happened again yesterday. And I think this is kind of like the problem with America.
Yeah.
Sorry, everyone. But everyone just like wants what they want. And if they don't get it, then they throw a temper tantrum. Or like, I'm going to go to your boss, or I'm not going to play for you, or what have you.
The point of, I'll agree and disagree. I'm going to agree from the perspective that that we tend to, or at least like read about like the throwing of your hands up in the air and whatnot. I don't always disagree with that. Where I do disagree with it is when we are talking about a multi-million-dollar,
Yes.
like player. And I think that's where I 100% agree with you. It's one of those things where I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like, are you doing this from a perspective of money? Because, there are a shit ton of people that are like, even at this point, it's like $15 an hour. It's like, okay, great. That's awesome. But like, point to me where in the state of New Jersey, that's going to go ahead and like do anything for you.
Some of these players, and let's just use one of the best players in the world, Patrick Mahomes, just got signed to a 10-year, $450 million deal.
Jesus
Like you, me,
Christ.
and maybe 2 or 3 other of our friends might not see that in our entire lifetime combined.
That's $4.5 million a year for the next decade.
But he only plays like 17 games a year.
Right.
So divide it by 17.
Oh my God. And how old is this individual roughly?
It's $45 million a year.
Oh my God, I did that math wrong.
He's much younger than we are, 25, 26. Maybe.
Again, it also, it does also still highlight, like, even that number to begin with highlights the sheer exploitation of these characters, of these young
the
people.
Sports too, like they're just these massive conglomerates, really. Like you want to call it the league or the association or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
they're conglomerates. It's all business.
Is the reason why this current player is asking for a trade is simply because of money?
So it's funny that's what came out. That's what people thought.
Yeah.
Like, the 49ers don't, that's the team, San Francisco 49ers don't want to pay him. But then they came out and said, we've matched him with what he's wanted.
Oh.
So then it's like money's not the issue, but you never know because the 49ers could be lying.
Well, I was going to say, could it be one of those things where, is it I guess for lack of a better term, like a toxic work environment, perhaps? Like, I don't know what necessarily goes on, like,
So actually kind of, yeah, because they use him in a way that's detrimental to his health.
Well, I was just going to say, because I think you and I were talking a while ago about, one of these individuals that like had tore his ACL and came back like super fast.
Yeah.
And it was that question of like, has he actually healed, or has
the
he
coach
just
is pushing him out?
Exactly, or is he being pushed out there?
Right.
So if it is one of these things where this guy is turning around and saying like, "Hey, my knees are not good right now. They need I need to
Stop
rest."
throwing me into 300-pound people every
exactly.
play.
Then I can almost understand and be like, dude, I am 25 years old and would like to be around for the next
play for another 6-7 years instead of just 2 or 3 years.
Right. And not also be then like 45 and needing to walk around with, brand new knees.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's weird. It is a gray area because it is situational.
Right.
And kind of objective.
No, yeah. I
guess.
Does it make a difference if they're a quote unquote like free agent or not?
Well, that's the thing, is that he's up for free agency. So right now they're technically like in negotiations.
Oh,
and I guess they haven't been able to come to an agreement.
Oh,
So who really knows?
Interesting. I'm fascinated by this kind of, because I don't know shit about shit. But when
it comes to like the meta part of it,
yeah. Because I do agree in certain regards where it's like piss off, but then in other ones it's like, oh well,
Well, I understand you wanted to protect your body, but like I'm not okay with you telling the team that you work for that you're not going to play.
Right.
Since considering you're still on a deal with them and still getting paid.
You know a little bit about what you're getting into also. That's like joining the military and being like, well, I'm not going to shoot at someone.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no. Like, I don't believe in the use of firearms and weapons. Be like, well, this might not be the line of work for you,
you're in the
bro.
wrong place, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Go play baseball.
Yeah.
People who don't want to get hit.
Exactly. Wow.
Yep, coming in hot.
Wow.
Anyway.
This is such a sweet and fun beer too for us to be like those blasted NFLers.
It's fun to be passionate.
I like that. Oh, that is a good spin, sir. I appreciate a good spin.
That's what I'm here for.
Well done. If this doesn't pan out, politics, my friend.
Sit and spin. If this doesn't pan out, sit and spin.
Sit and spin.
I'll hold the Guinness World Record for the longest sit and spin.
I don't know. Listen, I don't know if you want to sign up for that. Good
and
friend.
then also for furthest projectile.
Yeah, I was gonna say just.
All right, what's the rating? I'm still very confused and honestly not as high on this beer as I have been on other 450 Norths.
I'm gonna give it a reverse of its ABV, and I'm gonna go 3.5.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking 3.5ish. It's nice. I do appreciate the raspberry quite a bit. I don't think what I do like about it compared to I think some of the other 450 Norths is that some of them I think are so over the top and kind of crazy that a lot of it gets lost. This one is one where I'm like, okay, I still know what I'm getting. There's none of because this very easily is like a base for some of the previous ones we've had that have also had vanilla bead and granola.
And blue curacao.
Exactly. So I'm going to go 3.5. I feel pretty good about that.
Okay. It has grown on me, like you said. But I feel like all the flavors are trying to play king of the hill and nobody can get to the top.
Okay.
Like everyone is fighting for, I want to be in the front. And it doesn't have a front because everyone's all like on top of each other's shit.
It's interesting because when you sip it, it's got one.
You get blasted with all of it.
Yeah, you get blasted with all of it, but then as it lingers in your mouth a little bit, then all of a sudden things start to get muddled. You're like, oh, this is a raspberry beer, and then as I'm sitting here talking to you in between some of these sips, a minute or two, I'm like, oh, now I don't actually know.
What's the other berry? There is no other berry.
There is no other berry.
Oh yeah, there is strawberry.
Oh, that's right. Strawberry, raspberry.
Kind of confusing. I'm gonna say I'm really close to you actually. I think my gut was like 3.75.
Okay, all right.
So I'll stick with that.
Okay.
I feel like I want to go lower, but I mean it's still all the things that it says.
Right. It's not unpleasant.
Right.
It is not an off-putting.
It's just not our favorite.
Yeah. It's not. It's a good temperature too. So I don't think it has to do with like temperature by any means. I'm saying that this is probably like a solid like 55-ish, 60 degrees. It's not too bad at all.
It's got some legs.
It does. It's got some legs. She got a leg.
Great song. Yes, more ZZ Top
More
references.
ZZ Top all the time.
More cowbell.
More cowbell.
Would you care to take us into hats?
Sure, I will. In fact, I'd like to...
No, I'm ready.
Oh, you're ready for it. So I know that, pew, 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 pew. So I was trying to go through my head and I was like, all right, what kind of... We're going to probably dive into different hats and types of hats. What are hats that Alex is going to think of that I'm not going to think... Blah, blah, blah. So I started off, if anything, with the fez. I love a good fez.
With the tassel, right?
Right. The tassel is not always necessary.
Okay.
You don't always have to have the tassel.
I like the tassel.
I like the tassel as well. I also like what the fez is also known as. It's also known as the tarbouche.
The tabouche.
The tarbouche.
The tarbouche.
Yep.
Okay.
Tarboosh.
All right.
Tarbouche.
Got my attention.
So it's a felt hat, usually red, and again, sometimes having that little tassel on the end there. So the name Fez itself actually comes from the Moroccan city of Fez, which is where the berries used to be collected that would make the red dye.
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
So it is a symbol, in fact, of the Ottoman Empire, and was all the way into the early part of the 19th century. So it was adopted actually by Mahmud II, who was the Sultan, and he had ordered this as being the headdress for his new army. And it then became the hat that was worn by all civil and all religious officials by 1829.
Oh.
And the reason is that Two things. So for one thing, it replaced the turban, and which was seen as almost like dividing the community, as opposed, and the fez was viewed as being more of like a unifying element. So part of it was due to the fact is that like when they would pray like to Mecca, twice a day at least, you've got to fully bow down and like touch your head to the ground. And with the turban, it was always very difficult to do so. So because it was like puffed up, the fez being flat made it possible to go ahead and actually touch your head all the way down.
Prayer is very important.
Absolutely. It gained in popularity, swept across the area that was like known in referred to as like the Near East. So again, not as far, so like Turkey and whatnot.
Not as far.
Yeah, not all the way to the Far East. It's not the Middle East, but it's the Near East.
If you just go west, it's the Far East.
Eventually, you are correct. That depends on which way you're going to go. So following though the fall of the Ottoman Empire, the fez was then banned for a period in Turkey, beginning in 1925. Yeah, it was seen as being like an old relic of, again, the Ottoman Empire, and
that makes sense.
Yeah, they're still popular.
Oh yeah, people still wear them.
Absolutely, particularly again.
Couldn't tell you where.
Particularly in Morocco is where they wear them most frequently.
I've never been.
Neither have I. Not yet. My cousin went recently.
I bet you it's fun.
It's beautiful to Casablanca, Marrakesh. Oh my God. Come on. The amount of scenes from James Bond movies that I would reenact. Right. Oh my God.
That I would reenact.
Now tell me, who is the most famous donners of the fez? I wrote famous and then in parentheses I wrote at least to me, but still.
I can picture them, but I don't for the life of me know what to call them.
You're thinking of the secret society or the society that like drives around in the little cars.
Maybe I was just thinking about Morocco Mole.
Morocco Mole! That's who I wrote down. It's Morocco Mole. Yes, it is.
Yes.
Morocco Mole. Likewise me, Morocco Mole.
That's amazing.
Sidekick to Secret Squirrel.
Secret Squirrel.
Often portrayed as his longtime chauffeur. While devoted, over time the character became more and more like bumbling, although still a member of the... Do you remember the agency that Morocco Mole?
No.
It was called the International Sneaky Service, the ISS.
I don't remember. That's great, though.
This was fascinating at one point. So if anything, it was first introduced in 1966 and voiced by Paul Frees, who was often referred to as the man of 1,000 voices. We've spoken about him a number of times, like in the past.
I remember hearing his name.
Yep. So at one point, though, fun fact, at one point with Morocco Mole, we learned that he has an evil twin brother named Morocco Mole. So
the writing.
Oh, so good. Like tight. But come on, realistically, could it have worked out any better that it was Morocco Mole? And they're like, who is his brother? Morocco. Of course. So at one point we see, in one of the episodes, Morocco's wallet. And you see a photo of him and Morocco Mole, but along with a whole bunch of other siblings. All of whom, and this was according to the Boomerang Wiki fan page.
Oh, okay, cool.
All of whom are presumed dead, possibly by Morocco's hand. All I wrote down was ... what? I don't know why they needed to put that in there, but evidently all of Morocco Mole's siblings.
Because backstory.
I mean, backstory's important. It's very, very important, but like, wow, that's just so dark.
That is quite dark for Secret Squirrel. I don't remember that, the picture with...
No, neither do I.
I think I've seen almost all of them.
I think I have to... Well, it wasn't a full show. It was a half show with something else, right? Right, and it was rebooted at one point in time also. Like, they were brought back. Codename Kids Next Door, I believe. Don't quote me entirely on that.
I thought it was Cow and Chicken, but maybe I'm thinking of the...
No, you're...
Is it Cow and Chicken?
I might be Cow and Chicken.
There were two shows with Cow and Chicken.
Yes. I had seen it too, but didn't write it down, obviously. But yeah, right around that time.
Damn, Secret Squirrel.
Likewise,
Morocco Mole.
Morocco Mole.
Okay, so how about the first hat ever?
I would love to know.
You didn't do any research, right?
I did not.
Okay, So according to Wikipedia, there were not many records of hats predating 3000 BC.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Though they did say that it's likely they were very common before that. Just
Yeah.
not many recorded recordings of it. Mm-hmm. They go on to say that there's a figurine. It's called the Venus of Willendorf. So I sent you a picture of it.
Oh, yeah,
For
you
later,
did.
we're gonna show it to everyone when the
Oh, I'll take a look at your screen.
yeah, when the video goes up. So that is the figurine.
I would say that's definitely a hat. That
Right.
seems to be
so
on her.
so that's the
On the figurine.
That's what's suspect about it. But go ahead.
Where was that? Where's that from?
So that was found. It's found by Willendorf.
Oh, correct. Okay.
So what that is a 27 to 30,000 year old figurine. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Wrap your mind around that. 27 to 30,000 year old figurine carved out of limestone.
Oh my god.
So like you saw the picture, because of its like pronounced feminine parts, it's thought to be like a early fertility goddess.
Oh, that would make sense.
Or
I
like
would
a
believe
fertility
that.
deity
Absolutely.
that people worshipped. And that was actually not the only one they found. They found
Really?
a lot of them right around the same place. I believe it was in 1908.
And where did they find them?
They found them in Lower Austria.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Was not expecting you to say Lower Austria
Yeah,
by any
I
means.
didn't think that's where it was going to be.
Wow,
either.
the main continent of Europe. Huh.
Yep, found in Lower Austria in 1908. That was when they found the first one, and then they found the rest like shortly after.
Oh, wow. That's it. Wow.
So it's kind of been like a big mystery, but they think that is like a braided hat on this goddess's head.
You know what it looked like at first, and the reason why I asked where it was found. Sometimes, have you ever seen like those recreations of like Cleopatra where she's got almost what seems to be almost like just like a braided kind of like covering on her head? I want to say that like
yeah.
Liz Taylor wore it in
Yeah,
the
I know what
movie.
you're talking about.
That's what.
Oh, okay.
That
I didn't even think of that.
It's the first thing that kind of jumped to my mind, but and I guess you would maybe call that a hat.
Call it a hat.
perhaps.
Yeah, it's a head covering.
Call it a
headdress.
hat. Call it a hat.
Call it a hat. So it's very possible we've had hats for like way longer than we even realized. Like 30,000 years ago, man. We're talking about the beginning of humans.
I mean, realistically, yeah. I mean, how much sooner
That's it.
do we have any record again?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's the beginning of the Neolithic period, which would place humans.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which really isn't even that long ago in Earth's history. So if you want to learn about that, go check it out on the Google.
What are you wearing over there, Marvin? Oh, this, I'm calling it a hat.
Do you like my tassel?
Do you like my tassel?
It's a fez. So one of the earliest confirmed hats was found on a Bronze Age man who was completely frozen. He was actually thought to have been from the time of 3350 to 3105 BC. And believe it or not, they found him September 1991 in a mountain range, the Ötztal Alps, in between Italy and Austria.
Wow. Whoa.
Totally frozen with a hat on.
So everything seems to be like tracking, if
So
anything, in
Austria,
terms of
really-
right
really
in
weird.
that area.
Yeah, so this hat, he was wearing a bearskin cap. So it was like a bunch of hides stitched together. In the article, they said, imagine like a Russian hat with the ear flaps.
Oh yeah.
But no ear flaps.
Okay.
It just had a chin strap holding it onto his head.
Oh, I love that.
So that's Iceman. That's the mummified, totally preserved body. That's Iceman.
Wow, I didn't know that he had a hat.
Yeah, they found
on.
a hat on him.
That's fucking awesome.
Crazy. So this is all, I mean, that's not suspect, but mostly suspect.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a hat on. He probably was wearing it.
Yeah,
There's no
yeah.
way somebody put a hat on when he was frozen.
Look at Grog. Put on Grog's head. Be so funny, one might find.
I am Groot. So the first pictorial depiction of a hat finally didn't appear until 3200 BC. So after all of these other things were suspected,
Right.
I'll give you a guess. Where do you think? Where do you think it was discovered? We talked about them all the time.
I mean, is it the Egyptians?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was going to say for a second, are you going to throw me off and say that it
Nope.
was also somewhere in between like Austria and Italy?
Nope.
Okay.
You guessed it. Discovered in a tomb in Thebes. Mm-hmm. And to be precise, and apparently hats were quite common in Egypt. So, in fact, many upper-class Egyptians would shave their head as a sign of status.
Yeah.
And they would wear headdresses to keep themselves cool because obviously it's very hot in Egypt.
Yeah, not a whole heck of a lot of like shade necessarily in
Exactly.
the deserts
So
of
give
Egypt.
your own shade.
Genius.
And then just a couple other early hats. And we have pictures of these. Actually, maybe I should show them up now, pull them up now and show them to you.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd like to see him if anything. I
Okay.
think I might, yeah, let me see. I
So-
want to see on your screen.
So we have the Pileus. This was a Greek cap. It was brimless. Typically... Oh, what happened to my... Oh, new tab in the wrong place. That's okay.
Oh, all right.
That was a Pileus.
I can open it up on my end.
And then this is a brimless felt cap born in ancient Greece.
Yeah.
There was also the Phrygian cap.
The Phrygian Cap.
Yep, and you know what this looks like too.
Oh,
It's a conical hat with a little bent.
Yeah, it looks like
the Seven Dwarfs.
It looks like Hector's hat. Who, by the way, for those of you guys
Hector.
watching on YouTube, Hector had a stumble.
He's okay.
He's okay.
We can rebuild him.
He just looks like the statue of Venus right now. He's got no arms, but that's okay. He will be rebuilt.
He's got a lot of other things missing too.
Yeah, but that's all right. Look, he's kind of cocked to the side right now too. Like
It's kind of weird.
it is a little uncomfortable.
So like much like Hector's hat, a Phrygian cap. They were worn in Greece and Rome, in Italy, mostly by freed slaves though, as a symbol of the struggle against the monarchy. Didn't do a super dive into that. I didn't want to get too political.
No, yeah.
But so there was a slave hat apparently, and then finally our last quick hat is another Greek hat. So a lot of that area of the world seems to be where hats were born, and this is called the Potassos.
Oh, I like that hat.
You know this hat
Yeah.
too. This is the first brimmed hat in creation.
Genius.
First ever brimmed hat, Potassos, made with wool felt, leather, straw, or animal skin.
Interesting. I gotta say, I'm kind of surprised because, I mean, unless you were like learned for the most part, you were working outdoors.
Yeah.
Like I don't care.
All the
you know.
time.
Yeah. Like I know I acknowledge that after a certain period of time, like yes, your skin does get used to be, but I got to assume on certain particularly scorching days in the middle of the summer, like
If you don't
holy
have cover,
shit.
you're in trouble.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
That's actually, you know what? I wonder if that's why they wore the Phrygian cap. I wonder if that's why they wore hats, because they weren't allowed to when they were slaves, or maybe they didn't have them.
Perhaps.
So
I
maybe
also
that's why
thought
it
that
was a symbol.
considering the fact is that it looks like a sack, that it was also one of those things where it was like, this is what you would carry around,
Okay.
like what belongings you did have.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Good guess.
Maybe.
I like it.
I like that. We'll go with it. You and I are very smart. We are very smart.
We're educated.
Yeah. There are a lot. Oh, God. Whatever. Something like that. Have you ever heard of Jack the Hat?
No. Oh, why didn't we do a Mad Hatter? Dang.
Oh, I was going to, and then I took a step back. I know.
I'm upset with myself.
So Jack the Hat. Jack the Hat's real name was Jack McVitie.
All right.
Jack McVitie, and he was an English criminal who was an enforcer and a hitman
I like this guy already.
for the infamous Cray Twins. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
Okay, so the Cray Twins were at the head of like the most prominent organized crime gang of the 1950s up until their arrest in 1967. So they were identical twin brothers who had run a nightclub in London's West End, who, in addition to like associating with the likes of Frank Sinatra and Judy Garland and like Sammy Davis Jr., were also involved in armed robbery, arson, protection racketeering, which is, basically like, you pay us, we'll make sure nothing happens. I don't know why they're from West London and yet they speak like they're from Brooklyn.
No, that's how they say it. Whenever you racketeer someone, that's how you say it.
That's how you say it.
Yeah.
Assault and murder as well. So Jack had earned his name for the trilby hat that he had worn, evidently to cover up his hair loss. So that's where he wound up getting the name. So the reason why he is famous, we can say, is that so in 1967, he was hired by Ronnie Cray, so one of the two twins, to kill Ronnie's ex-friend and ex-business partner for £1,000. 500 pounds up front, 500 pounds after the murder was done.
Half up front, half when it's done.
That's the way that a hit goes. And if you don't know, you can walk away from this episode with at least one thing. So Jack had brought along his friend, a guy by the name of Billy Exley, but they were unsuccessful in killing this guy, Leslie Payne. So Exley had a bad heart, and Jack was heavily dependent on drugs at this point in time. So what wound up happening was that like Exley had kind of like backed out of doing it when Jack had handed him a handgun that was, quote, the size of a bleeding cannon. Interestingly enough, what actually happened was that they showed up at this guy, Leslie Payne's house. His wife had answered the door. When they had asked, where's Leslie? She responded, quote, he's not in, to which Jack replied, that's all right, and left. Right?
How polite.
Yeah. I also said,
Incredibly.
like, what a maroon, too, because, like, I
Also.
imagine it was one of those things going, if anybody
Just
else,
tell
I'm
them
not here.
Just tell him I'm not here.
I'm not here. They're going to kill me. They're going to kill me.
Mr. Superman not here.
Are you going to let me mother-in-law stay for the weekend then? I don't know why I made him Irish. I don't know what I'm doing. This beer has got me
You're doing
all
great.
This beer's got me all mixed up.
It's the marshmallow.
So despite the fact that they did not kill Payne, all right, Jack did not pay back that initial $500 because, job's not done. So this did not make the Cray Twins very happy. So on October 29th, 1967, Jack was invited to a party with a number of what I refer to as ne'er-do-wells in Stoke Newington in London.
Those are my people.
Ne'er-do-wells. I could have swore that I had spelt ne'er-do-wells at one point in time for another episode, but could not get the red squiggly line to go away this time, and none of the autocorrect worked, so I said, screw it, I'll just make it a hyphenated word and call it a day.
Modern solutions.
Exactly. So what happened was that the Crays had arrived early at this party, and they cleared all of the guests out
Oh, shit.
in order to go ahead and kill Jack. So when he had entered, they got into an argument, and the plan was to shoot him, like quite literally, according to records, like Reggie, who was the other brother. So it was Reggie and Ronnie. I know. Reggie had put the gun to his head, and the gun jammed. However, that didn't mean that Jack the Hat was going to be walking away at all. One of the Cray's cousins had bear hugged Jack at this point, and Reggie stabbed him multiple times in the face,
Oh, my God.
in the chest, and in the stomach. They ordered the disposal then of the body, but what they had done, they had wrapped him in a rug, rolled him up in a rug, and they tried to put him in the trunk of the car, but he didn't fit in the trunk of this car, so they put him in the back seat, and they were driving around, to try and figure out where to leave him. They wound up outside of St. Mary's Church in an area called Rotherhithe. I'm not from merry old London town, so I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. They got to around that area of this church, of St. Mary's Church, and the car ran out of gas.
Oh, my goodness.
So they decided, just leave the car.
Sure.
The Crays did not approve of this, and they were like, no, go the fuck back over there, because another associate of theirs had lived in that area. Go back over there and do something with it. And whatever they did, Jack's body was never discovered at all. So they have no idea what actually happened to his body, where he exists, and it was actually his murder that led to the Crays being caught,
Oh, good.
convicted, and imprisoned. And in fact, it was Reggie who was convicted then for Jack's murder.
Oh, poor Jack the Hat.
Right? Jack the Hat. And it was said that he did work for them, but was never permanently part of their gang at all.
Interesting.
Yeah, right?
Kind of like a lackey.
Yeah, and there were a lot of people that were part of the Crays gang that were not about this. They thought it was so inconsequential. They were like, really? You're going to kill Jack the Hat because of this?
Damn.
Yep.
So Rodney and Reggie Cray.
Ronnie and
Reggie
yep.
Cray.
Yep, Ronald and Reginald.
I love those names.
Right? They're a real interesting.
They sound like it. Nightclub owners and also mob hitmen.
Yo, yeah. Oh, dude, they were
I feel like that's
but
typical.
they were gained celebrity status. They were interviewed before they were arrested. They were interviewed by prominent English,
Really?
brought. Yeah. The list of people that they had noted as to who they rubbed elbows with was
Oh, I mean, you
Insane.
said Sinatra and who was the other one?
Sammy Davis Jr.,
Sammy Davis Jr.,
Judy Garland, like a whole bunch of these people.
Big A-list.
Absolutely.
Big A-list.
Yeah, 50s and 60s?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Big
Absolutely.
time. So I want to bring it to sports.
Oh, please.
You know I love sports. Second sports reference this episode.
Second.
So do you know what a hat trick is?
3 goals.
3 goals.
Of course.
Correct. There are many variations of this. Usually they're scoring. Usually. They occur in different ways across different sports, even sometimes different ways in the same sport.
Oh, I didn't know that it was something that happened across
I didn't
different
either.
sports.
Oh, yeah, all over the place. I didn't.
Oh.
Yep. So I knew about it in a couple.
Yeah.
But there was a whole list on Wikipedia of the sports and, like, you know, the accolade, let's call it. So soccer.
Naturally.
Hat tricks in soccer. European football, when a player scores 3 goals, doesn't matter when they're scored, just as long as they're scored.
Right.
3 goals, 1 hat trick. I didn't know there's also a perfect hat trick in soccer.
It's without an assist.
It's 3 goals, 1 off the head, 1 off the left foot, 1 off the right foot.
Oh.
It's a perfect hat trick.
Oh.
I had never heard of that.
Oh.
I don't think it's happened that many times. I think the last time it happened was in like the 80s, if I read
Okay.
that correctly.
Interesting. Now I look like a schmuck.
Yeah, I'm not the soccer guy. There are hat tricks in cricket. So this is accomplished. I didn't know the bowler is what that player is called.
Yeah.
When the bowler takes 3 wickets with consecutive deliveries, that would be a hat trick. We also have hat tricks in handball.
Oh.
3 scores in a row. No, I'm sorry. Is it just 3 scores? Yep.
Interesting.
Another score-related hat trick. This is where we go to where it's not score-related.
It's interesting, not to cut you off, but you mentioned it, the hat trick in handball, because I almost did research on the Handball Association of Thailand, which came up, is a big thing and is referred to as HAT as well. The Handball Association of Thailand.
Look at that.
Right?
Acronyms. We love them.
What, right? Can't get enough of them.
So here's the first negative hat trick. Comes to us from baseball.
I've never heard of it.
If you haven't watched Beers and Baseball, go check it out.
Yeah, please do.
We'll wait for you. Don't worry.
Yeah, well,
we have all the time in the world. I'm a big elbows on the table guy. I can't reach though, or you're gonna get a mouthful of that. That's okay. So if you strike out 3 times in baseball, that is what's known as a hat trick.
Oh.
And obviously you don't want to strike out.
Interesting. Wow. Oh, dude, I had no idea about that.
Side note,
Yeah.
if you strike out that 4th time,
Is it a turkey?
it's called a golden sombrero. Yeah.
I love that so much.
It sounds so much more awesome than it actually is, because if you strike out 4 times in a game,
It
you're
also sounds a little dirty, to prefer for
A little
honest
bit,
with
yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
20 for a Cleveland
the
Steamer.
golden, 40 for a golden sombrero.
40 for a golden sombrero. And if you need to ask what it is, you're not ready for
Then
it.
you're not ready. H jobs, B jobs, and Z jobs.
Woo!
So how about let's hit hockey. Last one. Yeah, I know, good movie. Let's hit hockey. Hockey has a few hat tricks. So there's like the typical hat trick where a player scores 3 goals in a game.
Yeah.
That's it. Easy. There's something called I'm sorry. So after this happens, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but the fans throw hats onto the ice.
Oh, they do?
They take off their caps and they throw hats onto the ice.
I wish I watched hockey more often, because I'm like, that sounds like my kind of game.
Hockey's one of the coolest sports to watch.
It's soccer, but fast. There's
And you can beat the
fighting.
crap out
I
of
was
each
just
other.
going to say, there's fighting that's allowed. It's inside, so I don't got to worry about rain. And I'm encouraged to get as intoxicated as humanly possible while yelling things at people that
and throw your hat onto the rink.
love it.
So yeah,
love
that's the thing. They do that. They have to clean it up, obviously, after each goal.
Do they just
after
like
each time it happens.
Zamboni everything?
They like sweep them. They sweep them off the ice.
How many dicks are there that just wind up like throwing
A
them back
lot.
to? Oh, I would.
throwing them back to the crowd.
No. Meaning like after they sweep it up, that people just like bring multiple hats with them.
I wonder if
because I would
if
totally be that asshole.
I wonder if that, or if they like throw them in a big bin during the game, and then as you're leaving, you come by and pick up your hat.
I'm assuming that they probably like someone's got to. Well, or
I don't know.
I wouldn't throw
Once
a
you
good
throw it-
hat.
Yeah, right. Definitely not. No. But that does happen. Every hat trick, people throw
Love that.
hats on the ice. So after this happens, blah blah blah. Sorry, I got lost in my notes.
Sorry.
Can you tell me and I think you can, the career record holder in hockey for most hat tricks in a career?
Is it Wayne Gretzky?
Is in fact Wayne Gretzky.
Really?
He had 50 over the course of his career.
That is really impressive.
Right.
That is
So-
really, really impressive.
Hugely. One of the best hockey players of all time. You might be too young to know him, but go watch highlights or something because phenomenal if you're a hockey fan.
What part of our demographic are you part of right now?
The wrong part. Get on the right side of the fence.
Go ahead, tell all your friends on Animal Crossing and whatnot to go ahead and we love Gen Z. That's what a Z job is. It's
lying to Gen Z so they don't complain. That sounds about right. Oh. So 50 career hat tricks.
Yeah.
He played 1,487 career games, which would put him at a hat trick in 3% of his games.
Wow.
So here's an interesting fact that I read really quick before I went into Wayne Gretzky, is that in 7% of games, there's a hat trick. So maybe not by the same player, obviously, but by any player across the league.
Oh, across the league.
Across the league, every like however many games, 7% of the games, they have a hat trick. Generally, he had one 3% of the time.
Whoa, that's well. I got to assume that you said that he played 1,487
games,
and you're not playing every team every season by any means either. Correct?
I don't know how hockey works, but you're not playing all the time because they have like 3 or 4 line changes that come through substitutions. So he did that and he probably played a ton of minutes, but still.
But I guess what I'm saying is like, I'm kind of curious about like how many games are played in one season.
82.
Oh, dude. So
each team plays 82.
Right.
And so 20 or 30 teams.
So that means, I don't know how to do like permutations and whatnot, but like that would still mean that each season there are, again, there are hundreds of games that are taking place.
Yeah, way more
every
than that.
season.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Pretty cool. But wait, there's more. There's also There's also what's called a natural hat trick, and this occurs when a player scores 3 goals in a row unimpeded by anyone else. No one scores but you. The record for the fastest natural hat trick was 21 seconds. By this dude on the Chicago Blackhawks.
What?
Back in 1952 called Bill Mashenko. 21 seconds. So he scored 3 goals in 21 seconds.
Holy, in the first 20, well, not necessarily
Maybe
first
not in
20,
the first, but in the span of 21 seconds throughout the 3 periods, he scored 3 goals.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Bill
that is
Mashenko.
incredibly fast.
And that was, what year did you say?
1952.
That was, I think, before they even wore like helmets and shit like that too.
Honestly,
at the time.
it might have been. I never really followed hockey that much. That was actually something I was interested in. When did like certain sports start to bring on the hat or the helmet?
If I'm not mistaken, I want to say that there was a really long period of time where they did not still wear like they started wearing helmets. Yeah, they started wearing at least like helmets in football, I believe, pretty soon. But like, I don't think they did with hockey.
I'm gonna look that up later. We're gonna check that.
Yes, because I'm also just really saying things very, very confidently.
Very professionally.
Very confidently.
Confidence is professionalism.
Yeah. We'll go with that.
Yeah,
sure.
That works. There's also a variation. Do you know who Gordy Howe is? Do you know that name? Another really famous hockey player.
No, I don't.
Okay, another really famous, maybe not in the same breath as Wayne Gretzky, but another really famous hockey player.
Yeah.
This was what's called a Gordy Howe hat trick. So it's kind of like a little tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
This is when a player gets a goal, an assist, and gets into a fight.
Yes.
In the same game.
Yes.
So,
I'm here for it.
So he only had 2 across his entire career when he had a fight, a goal, and an assist in the same game. So I don't know why we named it after Gordy Howe when this dude, Rick Touche, had 18 such games in his career.
To be honest with you, I would have expected that number to be higher to begin with.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I thought that was like
I guess
again,
it's
like
tough,
a staple.
It's tough to get a goal and an assist and also get into a fight. It's easy to get into a fight.
Yeah, that's true.
This is my last one. This is a good one. Finally, in October of 1995, so fairly recently, guy Scott Mellenby, he was a Florida Panther player. He scored the first rat trick. So during the game, he was only able to score 2 goals. But before the game, it was said that in the locker room, he had to kill a rat with his stick.
Oh my God.
So one of his teammates coined the phrase rat trick. So a couple of games later, when Mellenby officially scored a hat trick, fans threw plastic rats onto the ice instead of hats.
Yes.
And then
the dedication of the hockey fan.
Right? In commemoration of the rat getting killed. This actually continued the following season during the playoffs. For every Florida Panther goal, the fans threw plastic rats, and not just hat tricks, every single goal.
So you said that it happened and then it was 2 games later? Or
it happened a couple of games, maybe not a couple of games, but then his next hat trick.
No, because I was just going to say, like, man, that means that folks, like, heard about it.
Yep.
And
we're all over it.
But you know what I love about that, too, is, like, 1995.
No Twitter. No
one's going ahead, like, and talking about it at all. It's like the 10 Florida Panther fans got together and were like, hey, you know what?
Do you have 10 friends?
Do you have 10 friends? It's really hot out. Do they want to go and sit by some frozen water? It's called ice.
Hockey.
They'll like it. No, hockey. No, we're not hawking anything.
Sorry.
I love that so
It
much.
was banned, obviously, because like the necessary cleanup of all these rats off the ice was too much for the, impeding the game. Yep. So NHL killed it. Like I think the next year.
Really?
But yeah, the rat trick.
I'm sure that there's someone that probably is still doing it too.
That'd be great. There's also a nice, interesting little tidbit that I read is the National Hockey Youth Association.
Yeah.
Way back when I think the first hat trick ever occurred, or maybe a little bit after that, they had decided that they were going to give like a silver derby trophy to every NHL player who's had a hat trick.
Oh.
So if you have, it's like a commemoration kind of. You get a hat trick, you get a trophy from the youth league.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, really
I'm all
cool.
about it.
Yep.
The last thing that I looked up, if anything, and I came across it really, really teeny tiny, it's a place that's just called The Hat.
The Hat.
The Hat. So it's actually a fast food chain in Southern California. It started in the San Gabriel Valley, and they offer their world famous pastrami.
Ooh.
Right? Because I say pastrami,
California pastrami.
You think Southern California.
Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely.
So since 1951, and what they do is they actually offer like pastrami dip sandwiches, like so, like almost like an au jus.
Yep.
There's no sit down option, so everything is always like wrapped up and like given out. How much pastrami? Now they've got 11 locations now.
So much.
How much pastrami do you think they claim their customers consume weekly?
Weekly? Across all locations?
Correct.
10,000 pounds.
It is between 13 and 15 tons of pastrami.
Oh, man, that's a lot of pastrami.
Tons of pastrami.
That's a lot of meat.
I came across a blog from a guy that goes by the name Chubby Panda, which is so good.
Yes, that's the best
Such
handle.
a phenomenal
Ever.
name. We're gonna have to see if he's on social media, if anything.
Sure, we're
Chubby
gonna add him.
Panda, your blog post on the hat made me so happy. So they had gone, evidently, like a friend of his, like moved close to one of these locations, and they decided to go because they had always heard about it. Apparently, it's like, again, a pretty famous. It's kind of ubiquitous. It's almost like a Roscoe's, chicken and waffles type deal, or at least that's, what he had equated it to. But it opened up with a quote from his friend that just said, "Oh my God, we're all going to die young." Because of like the portions that they serve, and his finding, first thought was, brown. Not wholesome shades of brown either. Tacky 80s yellow-toned browns that tell you you're about to engage in some seriously unhealthy eating.
Oh.
And they, goes on to describe the food that's there, and it sounds like a coronary waiting to happen. Just grease and everything just being fatty and covered in gravy.
I'm just thinking about all the things I've had in my life that have been fatty and greasy and fried. It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's probably a lot. But I'm curious. I feel like next time I find myself in Southern California, I'm at least curious enough to be. I mean, the brown comment made me pull back. It reminded me of the Burger Haven.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm nostalgic for things that look like they haven't been cleaned since the 80s.
No, things that haven't been cleaned.
No,
since
yeah,
the
that's
80s.
true.
Quite literally
Yeah,
have
quite
not
literally.
been cleaned. Holes in the ceiling, stains on the ceiling, rips in the benches.
I loved it.
Oh, the food was amazing.
The pictures of the kids that were eating the food, you were like, these children are all well into their 40s at this point. Like, there's like, replace those signs, please.
The one arcade game, what was it?
Miss Pac-Man.
Yep. The one arcade game.
Game.
Yeah, man, that food was
delicious.
that was otherworldly, like burger joint food.
Come on, the only place you could think of it, even in 2007, 2008, the only place
For like
you
what,
could go
$2-3,
$2-3, like pay with a 5 and get change for a
and
full
you
meal.
get fries, right, or onion rings.
Fries,
you get
onion rings,
you can
a
get
drink.
a double cheeseburger
Yep.
and a big drink.
Yep, I used to have the it was a double gym with cheese or a big gym with cheese, and
That sounds right.
It was humongous.
Yeah, and it you could tell
So
that it
good.
was fresh, but also so greasy.
Oh, yeah.
like the meat, all the vegetables, everything was
Everything
fresh.
was always, and nothing
Everything
was
was
ever
fresh.
like gross, like, oh my God, this
Nope.
doesn't seem sanitary.
Nope.
It was just, oh man, I miss that damn place.
Yeah.
Now it's an auto zone.
Yeah, ugh.
Oh, fuck you, corporate America.
I agree with that.
Unless you want to sign us on, in which case you can email us at beersandpodcast@gmail.com.
But still F off.
But still, fuck off.
Please. That's going to be it for us today, everyone. We hope you had a blast. We sure did.
We definitely did.
Yeah, I can't wait for the next beer. Can't wait to see you guys next time.
Make sure you keep an eye out again on the Twitter, on the old Instagram. We're going to be throwing up some polls up there for to see what you guys want us to drink and talk about next. And guess what we're doing? If I say it out loud, it has to happen.
What are we doing?
We're going to go on the TikTok, I think.
We're going to what?
We're going to go on the TikTok.
Oh, no, I don't know.
We're gonna have to. TikTok on the clock. DJ, blow this record up. Whoa. I
was trying to be a clock. Ticking clock.
Now that I have to go ahead and pay royalties to Kesha, we probably should wrap up.
Okay, see you later.
Goodbye.